Hey, good morning, Coach. Please begin when you're ready.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. We've had a good week's practice. You had some time off after a pit on Thursday night to come back and get rested a little bit on Friday and Saturday after that really tough run with ranked teams. And proud of the guys that they've come back this week and trying to finish strong. They understand that this is about seniors. All of them will be seniors, so it's very important that they have a great game on Saturday. It's about bowl eligibility and would give these seniors a chance who did not go to bowls for a number of years there at the end to have a third bowl in a row. And we need to keep getting better. That's the other thing. So we've got to play to a standard this week and make sure that we improve on all the things that we talk about every week. And that's more discipline, fewer penalties, forcing more turnovers, protecting better, improve our kickoff returns. I think we're one of the leaders in the country in block punts, but we got to continue to do that and return them better. So a lot of things that we've got to continue to improve on, and we need to get to a bowl because that gives us an extra week's practice. And we've got such a young team. That's important for us. And actually with we'll have 9 early enrollees. If the ones sign with us that we're planning on signing. And the rule is if they have finished their school and graduated, they could actually come and participate in bowl practice. So that before they come in January, we didn't do that last year, but that would be something we're looking at this year. If the guys sign that we expect to sign, it'll be a tremendous class. And that would be a big boost for us and them to come in and get a few extra days practice. So we will look at that. I talked to the guys this morning about you went through a time here where you had a chance in the fourth quarter to beat number 8 Notre Dame. You had a chance in the fourth quarter and really should have beaten number 18 Pittsburgh. And then you beat number 10 in the college football poll, Wake Forest. So that just shows you how close we are to getting where we need to go. And to do that, we've got to take care of all the things that we're not doing, and we've got to do it on a more consistent basis. But we're so close, and we're right there, and we need to keep working. We will start. We will have a press conference next Monday. I think at the same time, Jeremy will get to you, and then Jeremy said yes. So we'll have that, and then that'll be our last press conference until hopefully we have some type of bowl press conference. As soon as the NC State game is over on a Friday, we will head out recruiting on Monday. And I haven't been able to go out in a couple of years because of COVID. So I'll be out every night for the 2 weeks that we have. I'll go to the Hall of Fame dinner with Harris Barton out in Las Vegas. But other than that, I'll be in schools and homes for 2 straight weeks and in hopes of closing one of the best recruiting classes, if not the best recruiting class in our school's history. You start talking about Wofford. Josh Conklin was the defensive coordinator at Pittsburgh. And he worked with Coach Narduzzi for 3 years. And he left there to go to Wofford. And then he won 9 games. And the next year he won 8 games, and they were the champions in the Southern Conference both of those years. This year they've had a lot of injuries. They've played some really close games. They, like us, they haven't had the year they want, but they're playing hard. They line up right, and they do what they're supposed to do. They run some option, which is kind of a pain for us defensively to have to work on this week, because that's just something that not a lot of people are running anymore. And they run the split back option. And they'll move their quarterback a lot. So we've got to get ourselves ready to play. I showed the guys, it's really interesting what emotion does in this game. Florida goes for 2 to try to tie Alabama earlier in the year, and they lose the game 31-29 against one of the best teams in the country. Wofford plays Samford, and Samford wins 27-24. And then the other night at halftime, Samford's ahead of that same Florida team, 42-35 at halftime, and ends up winning 70-52. So it's all about emotion, and it's all about preparing to play. It's a vicious sport, and it's a tough sport. and you can't go out and stand around. You've got to go out and be ready to go. So questions?
All right, we will begin with Michael Coates. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Coach, when it comes to senior day, how tough is it to go from the high emotion of the pregame ceremony, seeing all the seniors walk out, to then sort of resetting and then coaching the game just a few minutes later?
Yeah, Michael, let me also say that Bo Corrales came in Monday afternoon and wanted to be added to the list. So I'm sorry, I apologize. I thought we had them all. And he would be in that same category of those guys that say they're looking at some different options. They may come back, but they wanted to go through senior day just in case. But I'm sorry, I should have said that in the beginning, but I forgot it. Michael, it's really tough. It's a lot of these seniors have been so good to us for our 3 years, and we're sure not where we want to get to, but we've made a lot of progress, and we've made more progress in our program than I think has even shown up on the field this year. But these guys have been so good. I was just talking about watching Thursday night and talking about Garrett Walston today to our team. He was busting his rear end on the sideline Thursday night, leading and fighting for that team to win. Jeremiah Gimmel gets taken out of the Wake Forest game on a targeting call. He's over there competing as much as anybody I've ever seen. Tamon Fox has been a great leader. He was down there teaching the young ones pass rushing today. So many of these guys have done so well. So you hug their neck and you go back through 3 years of history with them and all the things that they've done well and where you see them in the future. We still have another game with NC State next week and then hopefully a bowl game. But normally my experience has been that usually the seniors don't play very well at the start of the game because they're so emotional that they're overhyped, and me too. I have to get settled back down. And next year we'll be playing an ACC game in this slot because our schedule will flip and change. And it always was Duke every other year for us when I was at Carolina before. And I always thought we started the game so poorly because we were over emotional. So yes, to your answer is that it's a very, very emotional day. It's a day to reflect. And it does matter for these young guys. It matters for me that I will never see them in Kenan Stadium again, possibly. But it also matters for them that some of them will never play in that stadium again. And they put a lot of hard days in to prepare to win. And they've been very, very successful in Kenan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Miguel, go ahead.
Hi, Coach.
Hey, Miguel.
How is Sam doing so far? And how Jacoby and Drake been doing in practice?
How has Sam been doing in practice?
Yes, that's
Can
what
you
he
hear me?
asked.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It went a little blank there.
Okay,
Just how
I repeat.
Yes.
How is Sam doing so far with the injury, and how Jacoby and Drake been doing in practice?
Yes, great question. Sam is limited this week. It'll still be a game time decision. Sam's so tough, and he's such a team guy. He's going to want to play, and he also doesn't want to go out there unless he's ready to play because he doesn't want to hurt the team. So that'll be totally up to Sam and the doctors and his family of whether he would play or not. Obviously, if he's healthy enough and he wants to play and the doctors approve it, then he can play. But that I think it will come down to Saturday afternoon when we walk out there at noon or 11 o'clock to see. Drake and Jacoby have got an awareness that they may fully be starting their first game and be out there. And they've had a really good week, but we've also challenged the rest of the guys to play well around them and pick it up and help them and make sure that they that they're ready to go, but have a chance to be successful. And then obviously with those two, we would run the offense for each one of them that we feel like that they'll be running in the future. So The offensive staff will pick out the plays that they feel like each of those would do the best, and then they'll do it. I haven't decided yet if Sam doesn't play, how we're going to rotate the quarterbacks. So I wanted to watch practice all week. I wanted to see who's more comfortable, who's having the best week's practice before we decided who started and if and how we would rotate them. The most important thing is always to win the game. That's what's important. And then you would love to get both of them some time because they're our future. They'll be competing in the spring for the job. And this is a great opportunity for both of them to show what they can do.
Gregory Hall, go ahead.
Hey, Mack, talking to Jeremiah yesterday, he mentioned that his highest high that he's experienced at Carolina was that first game that you came back and the win and against South Carolina, against Charlotte, just because it kind of solidified the energy and proved that could build a great football program at the Power 5 level. Just what is he, I mean, you mentioned him earlier with his leadership, but just how have you seen him grow? Just what has he meant to this program over his, I guess, 5 years?
Yeah, Greg, one of the things we've got to improve is leadership at each unit. We say it all the time and it sounds good, but you have to do it. And player-led teams are better than coach-led teams. No position has had a better leader than Jeremiah Gemmel. And I mean, from the first day, I told Bubba before the South Carolina game, I said, you do understand now we've got a quarterback that's never played in a college game. And we've got two linebackers counting Chaz Surratt and Jeremiah Gemmel, who have never played linebacker in a college game. And what Patrice Renee was out, Dominic Ross was out. I said, so I don't know that we have any chance. So just grab and hang on. And then they all played well. It was just fun to watch and something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And the same thing with the next week against Miami. The guys just, they played above where we should have been playing at that time. And then we fell back down the next 2 weeks and then jumped back up and had a chance to beat Clemson. So it's been a little bit of a roller coaster ride, but not with Jeremiah Gemmel. And I talked to the team today about this is a vicious sport. You've got to play hard all the time and you've got to be physical all the time. And you that do that will be more successful if you give everything you've got every day when you get out of here than you that don't. That's just the way life is. And Jeremiah is a guy that I can honestly say there's not one day that he has ever taken a lazy step in practice or a game. He has never had a loaf. He makes very few to no mental mistakes. He is always smiling. He's always upbeat, and he has never been in my office for anything even on the edge of a problem. He's just been an absolute joy, and we'll miss a number of these seniors, but we will not miss anybody anymore for our program than Jeremiah Gemmel. And he's somebody I'd hire in a minute after he gets through with pro ball. He's just he's really a special young man, and he is every bit of what you see is what you get.
What's your relationship like with him on a personal level?
It's great. I love seeing him every day. If I got a problem, I go to him and say, hey, it was kind of like with Michael Carter last year. Michael Carter was my guy. We had all the social injustice tension, and I'd call Michael and say, what do you think? What's going on? What do we need to think about? What do we need to do? And he and Taman would get together with the guys and come back and say, Coach, here's really what we'd like to do. And I say, why? And they'd tell me why. Well, Jeremiah's that way now. If I've got something I need on defense, I go to Taman Fox and Jeremiah. And I ask both of them, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think we're doing wrong, right? Why aren't we getting more pressure on the passer? What's your opinion? So he's been that valuable to us. Those two young guys on defense will really be missed.
Okay, let's go to Andrew Jones.
Hey, Coach, as much as you can you catch us up to what's going on with Bo, where he is in his process of trying to get healthy enough to play? And also, what would a healthy Bo Corrales have meant to complimenting Josh Downs and just kind of the team in general, especially in some of those games you guys really struggled moving the ball?
Yes, Andrew. Jeremy, you make sure I'm doing this right. he's had the 3 procedures. He practiced some early and was sore. So he's actually practiced this week. And I asked yesterday, do you think he will play this weekend or try to play? Because he was going to try to play against Pittsburgh, and he was still sore some last week. And conditioning is on top of all the other stuff, obviously. But he looked like he practiced well today. So I will ask again today. They said they wanted to see him practice. The medical staff wanted to watch him practice today. Coach Galloway wanted to watch him practice today to see if there's a chance that he could play either this week or next week. Even though he's missed the whole year, he was such a valuable player for us. We talk about losing Daz and we talk about losing Diami and the 2 running backs. We never talk about losing Bo. And Bo was a really important factor in our receiving core. So I think he will be well. I hope it's this weekend. I wouldn't think he would play a whole lot, Andrew, because he hadn't played in so long. And the conditioning is different with the trainers than it is on the field. But hopefully he'll get to play a little bit. He could still play in the last 3 games, be redshirted, appeal, and then come back next year. And that's what everybody's kind of looking at. I think, again, these guys get nervous that something might happen. They might not get the appeal. They won't have their senior day, and senior day is really important to them. And it's a big decision. So Tamon Fox changed that decision after he went to senior day. So it happens a lot. So I'll get Jeremy to keep you posted as much as we can on Bo, but that's exactly where it is.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Andrew.
Ross Martin.
Hey, Coach, I want to get some comments on Sam. You've talked so much about Sam Howell over the last 3 years, but maybe just what he has meant to the program in terms of going the upward trajectory from when he committed, obviously the big flip from Florida State, to kind of what he's done over the last 3 years as we enter senior day.
Yeah, Ross, thank you for asking. He's been the face of the program for 3 years. And I believe because we jumped out and beat South Carolina in Charlotte, and then we come back and beat Miami, and nobody expected us to do either. And he played so well as a true freshman in both those games. That got us started, and that got him started to get some national recognition. And they didn't even, we came back and lost 2, and the Clemson game got him national recognition. He is so tough. He's so honest. He's so nice. He's so polite. He's done a better job of being emotional and talking to the team and leading. But he's never griped one time about the number of sacks or times he's been hit. He's embraced and encouraged us to run him this year, but until we got the receiving core back where we needed it to be. And he has always talked about team. He's never even talked about leaving this year because he really wants to keep all of those thoughts out of the way till we finish the bowl game. And then he'll think about the next step. And I mean, he's a first round draft choice. So I personally think he's leaving, but it's wrong of me to speak for him. I saw his interview, I think Monday or yesterday, where he said, I've got some thinking to do. I'll make decisions at the end of the year. And if he asked me, obviously you say, do what's best for you. And if he's the number 1 draft choice and can make a whole lot of money, I've always told the guys to go. So that's kind of the way I've been. But Sam, again, is like Gimmel. He's Ross, what you see is what you get. He talks to me the same way he does you all. I say, hi, Sam. He says, hey, Coach. I said, how are you? I'm good. I mean, you're not going to get a conversation out of Sam unless you sit him down and start asking questions. And when you do, he'll answer them. But he is in that office every day. Nobody will ever be more committed to the position of quarterback. Nobody will ever mean more to a program than he meant to us because of the flip and the timing coming in and what he's done for us. And I meant this, and it may not come across properly, but I think he and the guys that left for the NFL last year, they covered up some problems for us. So we weren't as far along in the program as we looked like we were, because we had those two great backs and great receivers and a great linebacker in Sam. And then now we're a better team now than we were at the first of the year, but we're kind of working our way back through being a great program instead of being a program with 5-6 players that are so good that they mask a lot of our problems. And Sam's been that good. And now if Sam doesn't come back next year, and if he doesn't play this weekend, these guys have a load. The new quarterbacks have a huge void to fill moving forward. And I saw that with after Vince Young, I saw it with Colt McCoy, and then after Colt McCoy, I saw it with Garrett Gilbert. So there's a tremendous amount of pressure to keep the legacy of quarterbacks going, and hopefully we'll see some of that this weekend, whether Sam plays some or not.
Dina King, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned getting up back on the recruiting trail. How excited are you to actually get to go back to the high schools or in the kids' homes, meeting people? We know you're a great people person, not only the student athletes, but the high school coaches, because you've got such a great relationship with the high school coaches.
Dana, I can't wait. I haven't been able to do it for 2 years. And then I was out for 5 years. So I just had the one little window that first year where we could go out, and thank goodness COVID's sure not out of the way, but it's better. And that we can be smart and be careful, but I can't wait. You know, if we sign, I think we've got 15 or 16. We go back and forth that, so you're sitting there with maybe you'll sign 18, maybe you sign 19. And then what you do, Dean, is you try to get the 9 that are the early enrollees. You try to get to see them first, because you'd love to go to their school and see their families before they get here in January. So that's what we'll focus on those first two weeks. And then I'll go back out in January and see the rest of the signees that aren't early enrollees before they come in June. But I can't wait. I love high school coaches. We haven't had our camp. I mean, we haven't had our high school clinic on campus for 2 years. That's been on Zoom. I love going into the high schools and seeing students and teachers and people that love North Carolina so much. So they actually already have my schedule pretty much set for every day moving forward till we have the dead period and can't go off the road.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
All right, we'll close up today. Back over to Gregory Hall.
Mack, you always talk about Colt McCoy and Vince Young when talking about Sam Howell. I was just wondering if you had a comp for Jeremiah.
Oh boy, that's a great question, because you could talk about Chris Keldorf here or some of the quarterbacks, Jason Stanisak here, and then you could talk about Major Applewhite. You could talk about Chris Sims. A lot of the guys that you talk about during your career, you start looking at linebackers. Gosh. The greatest ones were the Derek Johnsons, the Brian Simmons, the K Mays here. There are just so many of those guys that were leaders and stepped in the middle, Greg. But you kind of caught me off guard here for 33 years to pull out one out of nowhere. So I'll get with Jeremy. We'll put a little thought into it and try to get you an answer.
All right, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, Coach, that's all we have for you this morning. Appreciate it.
Great. I'll see everybody on Saturday, and then I'll see you after the game.
All right, sounds great.
Have a great week. Thank you.
Thank